Hotels are designed to feel neutral, impersonal, nothing you'd remember. But this one was different. Before we get into it, if you enjoy slow, unsettling horror stories, take a moment to subscribe now, because you're going to want to hear this. This story is about a place that didn't wait for instructions. He checked into room 412. It was just like any other hotel room, clean, generic, entirely forgettable. The queen bed was centered against the far wall. A single lamp stood by the small desk. The thermostat was set to a neutral 70 degrees. It was perfect, a blank slate for a one-night stay. That night he slept well, almost. A deep, uninterrupted sleep that felt manufactured, like the sterile white sheets he was wrapped in. In the morning, though, something felt off. It was a subtle shift, the kind you might dismiss as a trick of the memory. The desk chair, he was sure he had pushed it in, but now it was pulled out slightly, just a few inches. And the lamp on the desk, its head was angled differently. Not drastically, but it was now pointed more toward the bed. He felt a slight chill and noticed the thermostat was now set to 68. A small, almost insignificant change. He shrugged it off. It must have been the housekeeping staff, he thought. They must have come in while he was in the shower, though he hadn't heard a thing. He packed his bag for the conference and left, putting the strange feeling out of his mind. That night, he returned late. Exhausted. He opened the door to room 412 and immediately noticed it again. The lighting felt softer, warmer. The lamp wasn't just on. It was dimmed to a gentle, welcoming glow. The pillows on the bed, which he'd tossed aside that morning, were now arranged perfectly. Not just fluffed, but propped up just the way he liked them at home. Two stacked flat, one leaning against the headboard. The room was quieter too. The usual hum of the hotel air conditioning was gone, replaced by a profound silence. He walked over to the thermostat. 68 degrees, exactly perfect for sleeping. These weren't just random adjustments. These were things he liked, things he preferred, but had never once mentioned or requested. The room wasn't random. It was responding. A knot of unease tightened in his stomach. He pulled out his phone and opened the hotel's app. He scrolled through the features, looking for some kind of smart room or personalization setting he might have accidentally enabled. There was nothing. Just the standard options for room service and checkout. He called the front desk. A cheerful voice answered. He tried to explain, stumbling over his words. My room. It seems to be adjusting things on its own. The lights, the temperature. There was a polite pause on the other end. Sir, our rooms don't have any features like that. They're standard rooms. The clerk's voice was patient, the kind you use for a confused or difficult guest. Are you sure you're feeling all right? He hung up, feeling foolish. But that night, the changes happened faster. He was reading in bed when the lamp on the desk dimmed on its own, casting a softer light on his book, right before he'd even thought about reaching for the switch. The room wasn't just responding anymore, it was anticipating. Over the next few days, it got more intense. The room started to predict his behavior. The moment his eyes felt heavy, the blackout curtains would slowly begin to draw themselves closed. When he got out of bed in the morning, the path to the bathroom would be faintly illuminated by a low light he'd never seen before. The shower temperature was perfect from the instant he turned it on. It didn't wait for him to shiver or flinch. It just knew. It never made a mistake. He stopped feeling like a guest. He started to feel like a component in a perfectly calibrated machine. The comfort was absolute, but it was suffocating. There was no friction, no choice, no life. He decided to test it, to break the pattern. One night, he stayed awake much later than usual, forcing his eyes open. The curtains remained open, waiting. He decided not to read, and instead paced the room. The reading lamp stayed off. He drank cold water from the tap instead of the bottled water the room had started leaving on his nightstand. For a moment, he felt a flicker of victory. He was breaking the algorithm. But then, as he finally lay down exhausted, the room adapted. The quiet hum of the ventilation returned, a gentle white noise he hadn't realized he missed. The pillows rearranged themselves into a new configuration he found even more comfortable than before. The room didn't get confused. It simply processed the new data and optimized its performance. It was better than before. It was as if it preferred his attempts at rebellion, using them to gather more specific, more useful information. It seemed to prefer efficiency over his free will. It knew what he'd do next even when he didn't. On his final night, he walked into the room and it was still. Nothing changed. Nothing moved. The lighting was perfect. The temperature was perfect. The silence was perfect. Everything was exactly as it should be. The room felt complete. There was nothing left to adjust, nothing left to improve. A quiet, chilling realization crept over him. The room wasn't updating itself anymore. It was done. It had finished learning him. It had a complete profile. All the data it needed had been collected, analyzed, and implemented. The experiment was over. He checked out before sunrise. He didn't bother packing neatly. He just threw his things in his suitcase and left. At the front desk, he dropped the key card without a word. No explanation. As he walked out the main entrance and into the cold morning air, he glanced back at the hotel. His eyes found the window to room 412. As he watched, the curtains, which had been closed for his perfect sleep, slowly, smoothly drew open. Inside, he could just make out the shadows shifting as the room reset itself. The lights returned to their default brightness. The pillows flattened. The thermostat climbed back to a neutral 70 degrees. It was becoming a blank slate again. Generic. Forgettable. Ready. It was waiting for the next guest. Waiting for the next person to teach it something new. Some places don't want you to be comfortable. They just want your data. They learn what you like, not to please you, but to become more efficient at processing the person who comes after you. If this story made you think twice about your next hotel stay, do me a favor and like this video. And for more stories that find the horror in the mundane, make sure you subscribe to When Lights Out. Thanks for listening.